When we have so many ways of generating notes and triggers, it's very easy to go for sensory overload, which can be cool, and sometimes it can be a little bit tiring. Sometimes you need to open up what's called negative space, the space in between notes. When I'm performing with other people, I need to do it so they've got a place to be heard as well, but it's also good in other compositions or just to hear your effects. So I've been developing a couple techniques, particularly using a trick with Pamela's new workout that allows me to open up more negative space in between notes, both for triggered sounds and for sampled sounds. So I wanted to share that with you. Right now I've got a very busy kick drum pattern going on, and when I really turn up something like the reverb, it just gets really full. And if I go for something like my dub type echoes, again, we got quite a tangle here with the original sound and all the echo notes. What if I could make that kick drum play a couple notes, then sit out a few notes so I could hear my effects or what other people were doing? Well, to do that, I'm going to use a combination of Logic and a channel on Pamela's new workout. I'm going to say, only play these notes when Pamela says you're allowed to. So I'm going to take my trigger out, put it to one input of an AND gate. AND gates say, I need to see something on this input and the other input to allow either one of them to get through. I'll go ahead and patch that over to my kick drum for now. There we go. And I've got this channel on Pamela set up not just to do a pattern every 8 notes or 2 measures, but if I do a long press on it, I've got it to be a square wave with a particular duty cycle or width. So basically it says go on for 4 notes and then go off for 4 notes. We're going to put that on the other side of the AND gate. So both Pamela and grids have to be playing notes to get through to the entity. You'll see why this is green while it's high, the notes from grids are getting through. And when it's low, notes are not getting through. It allows my reverb to ring out. Or if I was to go to my echo, I can enjoy that echo now because it has its own moment in the spotlight. It fills the negative space I've opened up by saying hold out some of the notes from grids. Now there's a couple tricks with this technique I want to show you. For example, 50% where we're on for 4 beats and off for 4 beats is not ideal. I want to get the downbeat of the next measure as well. You'll notice that downbeat is missing at the end of this pattern. So if I just go to my width of 51%, that keeps the window open for one measure and the downbeat of the next measure. Hear that extra beat on the 1? That makes a much more full pattern compared to the normal loop approach of just cutting off a measure completely. In reality, a drummer would hit the next downbeat. I can also change this to shorter widths, for example, down to 26. So we're just getting 2 beats, then 6 beats of rest. Pretty cool. Now that's nice for triggered sounds, but I've been wanting to use it for some of my looped sounds as well, because they can also get pretty full and pretty busy. For example, here's a little water phone sound. It has some of its own pauses, but still quite busy, particularly when I go to these other variations. And now it's just getting lost in that wash reverb, but I have to pull back my reverb depth. If I was to put my echo, well, you know, it's a lovely confusion, but sometimes you want a little bit more clarity. And we have other patterns in here, such as this kunga. This big kendung. And this derbuka. It's one of my favorite patterns there. Well, what if, instead of using an AND gate, instead we treated a VCA as our gate to decide whether or not to let the audio through? All right, to pull that off, I need to undo a little bit of my patch here. Don't need grids right now, so I'm going to take that out of the patch. I'm going to set Pamela back to 50, so we're on a measure, off a measure, and we'll play with that more once we get rolling here. And then let's go ahead and disrupt our audio path here. I'm going to take my FX1 out where I have all these particular sounds routed, run them through the Happy Nerding 3X VCA, then take that output and go into one of my extra channels here. Let's go ahead and bring that up, play the Darbuka, and then let's just bring up the normal level here. So there's it coming through. And there's it not coming through at all. I'll turn to CV depth. Now I'm going to take this special trigger out from Pamela that's just high for 4 beats, low for 4 beats. And we could start out by saying, well, let's just use that to open and close the VCA. Well, the sudden rises and falls can cause some problems when you're gating audio. You'll hear some clicks. You hear that whoop. Even if I put that out to 51%, that's even worse. So instead, I'm going to use that trigger to drive an envelope on my Quadra here. I've put it into attack, sustain, release mode. I'm afraid this jack's a little bit off screen here, but we'll go ahead and go into trigger input 2. Make sure I'm set up correctly. Fast attack, moderate decay. Take its envelope out, its CV, and go to the CV in my VCA. Now I can decide how quick my gate closes. That's a little bit better sound there. A little too long there. It's nice with that reverb. Or I can go ahead and put in my effects, my echo. Let's turn it down to 26%. So we're just getting the first 2 beats here. Kill the Darbuka and switch over to our big Kendung here. Much more interesting than just having it going all the time, which would be this effect. Now it's just being enveloped. Try our Kunga. I just have my echo. Go back to reverb if you like. Or switch over to something like this Waterphone. Cool. I can change how it's being damped by changing the release on my envelope. Let it fade out a little bit more, maybe. And if I want, go to my echo chain. Now I'm using the output of Pamela because it gives me a nice sustained high level, then off again to drive my envelope. If I was to use just a trigger generator, I would just get a little blip of an envelope. I wouldn't get it to be held on for a couple notes. So if you want to go ahead and use different trigger generators to also pull off this trick rather than just what I'm doing with Pamela here, this is logic to the rescue again. I'm going to use something called a flip-flop. This says when it gets a trigger, go high and stay high. When it gets another trigger, go low and stay low. So let's go ahead and take my output from my flip-flop. And just for fun, take the output, one of my channels, number 3 here, of my Euclidean circles to the input. So I'm up 2 beats, down 2 beats. Let's go ahead and knock down the release here. Maybe I'll go to reverb to make that a little bit easier to hear. And I can go ahead and change my patterns. Try something irregular like 5 beats, which will give a longer pattern. Or I can go back to something like this 4 and offset it in time. So, by using either logic for trigger signals, a VCA to be like analog logic to go ahead and gate samples on and off, or a combination of the two, you can create this negative space to create some interesting openings in your patterns to allow your effects to ring out, to allow other lines that you've programmed to play through, or just to create space for other musicians.